In a small village of Malunda, there lived a girl, Wanjiku, and her mother. Wanjiku was the laziest girl in the entire village. She would not lift a finger to do anything. If she was asked to fetch water, she would pretend to have a stomachache. If she was told to sweep the house, she would complain about back pain. She even refused to chew her own food properly, swallowing it whole like a snake. Wanjiku. Mama Wanjiku's voice cut through the morning air like a blade. "Wake up and fetch water," Wanjiku groaned, pulling the blanket over her head. "Mama, my legs are tired," she whined. Mama Wanjiku sighed, rubbing her temples. "Your legs are tired? From what? Sleeping?" The neighbor's daughters had already gone to the river and returned, yet Wanjiku hadn't even left her bed. It was the same story every day. She refused to cook, she refused to sweep, she even refused to bathe properly. Her mother worked tirelessly, fetching firewood, going to the farm, washing clothes. And Wanjiku? She just lay there, watching life pass by. But life has a way of teaching lessons in the hardest way possible. One evening, Mama Wanjiku came home from the farm, her body drenched in sweat, her hands trembling from exhaustion. She placed a basket of bananas on the floor and collapsed onto a stool, breathing heavily. Wanjiku, still lying on her mat, glanced at her mother lazily. "Mama, what are we eating today?" she asked. Silence. Her mother did not respond. Wanjiku frowned. "Mama, are you deaf?" Still silence. Then something terrifying happened. Mama Wanjiku's body slumped to the side. "Mama!" Wanjiku screamed, jumping to her feet. Her mother's lips moved slightly, her voice weak. I have no strength, my child. I have worked too much. I cannot move." Panic gripped Wanjiku. She had never seen her mother like this before. She was always strong, always full of energy, but now she looked like a dying flame. "Mama, what do I do?" Wanjiku asked, her voice trembling. Her mother's eyelids fluttered. "You must take care of us now," she whispered, before slipping into unconsciousness. Wanjiku's heart pounded. For the first time in her life, she felt helpless. For the first time she realized she was alone. Wanjiku sat beside her mother all night, listening to her weak breaths. Her stomach growled, but for once hunger was not her biggest concern. At dawn she made a decision. She picked up the jerrycan. It felt heavier than she had ever imagined. The walk to the river seemed endless, the sun burning her skin, her feet stumbling over stones. For the first time, she felt the struggle her mother faced every single day. Her hands trembled as she lifted the heavy jerrycan onto her head. The water dripped down her back, mixing with her sweat. By the time she reached home, she collapsed onto the ground, gasping for air. But she had done it. She had fetched water. Looking at her mother, still weak, she realized this was only the beginning. She gathered firewood, cooked some bananas, and sat beside her mother, feeding her with shaking hands. Tears burned Wanjiku's eyes. "Mama, I'm sorry," she whispered. "I never knew, I never understood." Her mother, eyes half open, gave a small, tired smile. "Now you do." Days passed. Wanjiku continued to work. She was slow, she made mistakes, but she did not stop. She fetched water, she cooked, she swept the house, and slowly her mother regained her strength. One morning, as Mama Wanjiku sat up properly for the first time, she looked at her daughter with pride. "You have changed, Wanjiku." Wanjiku wiped sweat from her forehead and chuckled. Mama, hard work is not easy, but I will never be lazy again." Her mother laughed softly, shaking her head. "Good. Because laziness only leads to suffering." From that day on, Wanjiku was never the same. She became a strong, hard-working woman, and when the village women whispered about her transformation, she simply smiled, remembering the lesson that changed her life forever. Laziness can blind us to the sacrifices of those who care for us. But life will always find a way to teach us, sometimes through the hardest lessons. Work hard, appreciate those who provide for you, and never wait until it's too late to change. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like and share, then leave a comment.